It doesn't seem that long ago that we kicked off Season 5 at this very track, but in that time, 6 races and the crowning of a new champion has occurred. Now the drivers buckle down with a fresh start in hopes that the classic venue of Spa-Francorchamps will treat them well. Will we see any fresh faces challenging at the top? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch the opening round of Season 6 in the Absolute Beginners Formula Neagle Cup. And you're watching it live on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak. Joining me once again this season is my cohort, Richard Losper. Behind the scenes is our director, Kevin Brown, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Richard, this place is certainly steeped in history and legend, and I'm sure we'll be adding to it during today's race. Tell us a little bit about the circuit.
Yeah, circuit Spa-Francorchamps. This track needs very little introduction to most iRacing drivers and certainly the iRacing community. Well, it's a 4.35 mile track, 7 kilometers or thereabouts, 19 turns we have here, and it is an absolute classic track. It's one of the classic tracks of the world, as I'm sure people know. It has massive elevation changes. It's got one of the most significant, or certainly the fiercest hairpin in the world, and it also has that bus stop chicane, which is just terrifying after you have been driving flat out around what can only be described as one of the longest curved straights in the world as well. So Joe, a fantastic track, and I'm sure that we are in for a really good 70-minute race here. But why don't we have a look at a lap guide which will show the folks at home exactly what we're talking about.
many drivers get tangled up with each other. But if you got through clean, you've now finished a lap around Spa. And this lesser powered Skippy, you can tell it's a bit of a long lap around here, but still some corners that are no less terrifying as you're trying to really wheel this thing around. Last season's champion, I should say, is on screen. Vincent, Brame, and Richard. It was an absolutely exciting championship down to the last corner.
Yes, and I'm just trying to think of who nearly spoiled the party for Vincent because and ran out of fuel a few meters. I would say from the finish of the race. If he had finished in front of Vincent would not have won the champion. It would have gone to Johan van der Belt, who came in second. I think it was David Burns. It might have been.
I believe that was.
Spoiled the party. So, yeah, it was a great championship, and we saw some really, really good racing. And if I recall correctly as well, Joe, Robin was affected by the heat in that last race and couldn't finish.
Yeah, he actually pulled the car over without damage and decided to call it quits. Sad to see, but Robin is always a top competitor. You can see he's currently sitting on pole, but that's provisionally as they complete their solo qualifying laps here around Spa. Now, as they work their way around, Richard, what are some of the passing places these guys are going to be looking at? I know there's going to be a few since this is such a draft track.
Yeah, and you know, the car itself is so draft friendly, if I may say. Look, there are going to be a few passing places. Obviously, at the end of Camel Straight is still, no matter what car you're in, that is still the best place to try and effect the pass. But of course, you've got other long straights as well. You've got at the end of Blanchimont there as well, just before the bus stop chicane, which is also a good place to try and get through. Although that left-hander that Vincent Brame is just coming through now is terrifying in any car and in this car as well. But coming down the mountain, there are a few other places that you can attempt to pass, but with a little bit of risk. So I would say still the end of Camel is still the best place.
Absolutely. You can see Vincent coming up to another good spot to try and overtake here into La Source, that first hairpin, which can cause some problems, especially at the start. They're going to do a standing start in this series, so guys will have to watch out with a 70-minute race on their hands. It'll be very easy for them to throw it all away in that first corner if they start to tangle in these vehicles. So as we watch Dennis Neagle currently sitting 24th, obviously this championship is named after him, one of the guys that helped kick off this absolute beginners league. The other thing we need to worry about is the incident points around here, Richard. Now, for those not familiar with iRacing, what are we talking about with the incident points, and how does that affect the drivers?
Well, incident points are given by iRacing. It is when you put a wheel, or two wheels in fact, off the track. iRacing determines that you have gone off the track and issues a point, an incident point. Most leagues tend to ignore that, but some do require you to keep within a certain number of incidents, or they will let iRacing disqualify you, and that is the case in this league, Joe.
If they get over 24 incident points, and unfortunately we can't see how many they've racked up, and you, our viewers, can't see how many they've racked up unless you're keeping really close eye on a driver. So the only way we're going to know is whether or not they've gone over that 24 incident limit, is they will literally disappear off the track. The iRacing service automatically plucks them out, says you've gone over the limit, and they are gone. Watching Daniel DeVos currently, DeVoe, who is sitting in 17th on the grid at the moment. We've only got about a minute and a half left in qualifying. Then they're going to be able to finish their hot laps once that clock ticks down. And I'm looking to see what kind of names we have up at the top. We're used to seeing most of these guys up here towards the front. Tuan Tran is someone who came in halfway through last season, and he was definitely challenging for wins later on. Let's see if he can challenge for the entire championship. However, I'm seeing in ninth currently Piers Cocky. He is a new one that we didn't see last season, Richard, so we'll have to see what he's got in store for us.
Yeah, I'm looking at the down the list of names here. Piers Cocky, certainly. I don't recall Stefan Schmidt either. There's an Eric Lukal, Daniel De Vos, Joachim Lundgren, Aki Helverante. Quite a few new names there. But up near the top of the qualifying list are the usual suspects. I just want to make a little bit of a correction here. I said them coming down the mountain. Well, it's not really a mountain, but I live in Australia, Joe, and anything higher than 10 meters is considered a mountain here.
Well, I live in Colorado for our U.S. viewers, and we have plenty of actual mountains out here, so it's mountainous, I will say, near Spa-Francorchamps. So, one half of the dozen and 12 for the other, so whatever you want to view it as. As we get ready to watch that clock hit zero here, drivers are just going to be finishing. Piers sitting in ninth. I know Joachim Lundgren did race in at least one race last season. Now, looking at the chatter, it sounds like guys are expecting about 10 laps on a tank. They can go for about 70 minutes. So at about 3 minutes, that'll be about half an hour for a tank of gas, we believe, for them to be able to go out here. Looks like pretty much everybody has finished, though. They are starting to grip, so let's go through the grid. We've got quite a few people here. Johan Vanderbilt is going to be on pole. Robin Rosenvinge is going to be outside of the front row. Then it's Tuan Tran starting in third. David Burns will kick it off in fourth with Marcel Seidel in fifth. And Richard Mikael Engstrom is going to be starting in the fifth position in the sixth position, actually.
Right, and then we have Wojciech Podacek. Fast, enjoyed watching him last season. He's in 7th. Bastian Huisman will be in 8th position. Piers Cocky, a newcomer here, in 9th position. Stefan Schmidt in 10th. Vincent Brame, unusual, down in 11th place. And Mark Vergeres in 12th place.
Could have had an incident point that nullified his qualifying lap. Eric Lukell, 13th. Daniel De Vos in 14th. Joachim Lundgren starts in 15th with Aki Helverante in 16th. And it's Adam Bradshaw starting in 17th, followed by David Costello, Richard, in 18th.
Francis Dore in 9th. Lorne Murray in 20th. Brian Conforto, Frederick Neptune, 21.
And the lights are up.
It's green.
Yes, green flag is out on this new season, Season 6, in the Formula Neagle Cup, as our drivers lead us away down to La Source. Johan Vandenveld up in front. He weaves across to the left. We got a few cars dicing for position behind him. No contact. Oh, a little bit contact there. I think that was possibly David Burns there who touched Mikael Engstrom.
Possibly. David Burns in there. Marcel Seidel in a blue car I'm seeing here. Just behind David right now. They've lost a little bit of ground to the top three. Johan van der Belt, Robin Rosenfinger and Tuan Tran of the top three as we go down the Camel Straight for the first time. Or I should say go up the Camel Straight for the first time. 3 wide, Joe. What else do we think would have happened?
Absolutely up for the lead. 3 cars already. Tuan Tran has the inside. He wants to dominate early into Lacombe. It's going to be Tuan Tran taking the lead. Robin Rosenvinge slots into second. Johan Vanderbilt is going to be third, just behind them, losing a little bit of ground. David Burns has gotten himself into fourth. We got a spin behind. We didn't quite see who that is. Looks like it's Mikael Engstrom slipping down the order. And now he's able to get back on the track. Bad start for Mikael.
And there was also an attempt by Joachim Lundgren to in fact pass there going into Lacombe. And now they're coming down the hill here, and I'm watching from Joachim Lundgren's car. He's way back in about 15th place, but it's such a great sight to watch the cars down in front of him. But of course, Joe, the action is all up front, and it is quite fierce on lap number 1.
Absolutely, and coming around Pouan, very fast corner. You can see a number of cars to affect some side-by-side moves. Very difficult through there. We've got some 3 wide back there. I'm trying to see who that is all involved in that. Looks like Bastian Huisman is in there. Piers Cocky, Marcel Seidel, and Vincent Brame all swapping positions.
Yeah, and Marcel Seidel and Vincent Brame just in the lead of that little 3 wide pack. Now they've straightened out and gone single file, but Piers Cocky, he's on a mission. Piers Cocky, first race, and is taking it to Marcel Seidel and Vincent Brame, and showing that he's not afraid to mix it up.
Well, we've jumped on board. Vandenbelt sitting in third. Got another lead change, and Robin Rosenvinge is the one taking up the front as he goes just a little bit off track coming around Blanchimont. Now they're going to throw the anchors out and slow down for the chicane. Here comes Johan Vandenbelt looking a little bit on the inside of Tuan Tran. Nothing doing there. Behind them, change of position. Wacek Padacek going wide through the chicane, and David Burns is heading into the pits.
Yeah, that is a strange move there. I wondered what was going on there. Wacek came flying past David Burns, but certainly he's heading into the pits.
I think he may have had a jump start, possibly.
It can only be some sort of penalty. It has to be on lap 1, Joe.
Yeah, he's working his way to his pit stall. Meanwhile, everybody streams by, and it is an absolute mess down into La Source. Look at everybody jockeying for position down around the hairpin. There we see Martin Tistra in 23rd. Now we've jumped back up to the lead, where it's Tuan Tran trailing behind Rosenvinge. Let's see if he can use the draft. Johan Vandenbelt has a great run coming up over the hill, and he is already to the outside of Tran.
Yeah, he's going to fly past. Meantime, it looks like they've just gone 3 wide. Big loser there is, in fact, let me see. That's Rosenvinge who's lost out there. Maybe he's just playing it a little cool because he's overtaken. They go 2 wide. Oh, danger.
Oh.
Yeah.
They get very close. That's Rosenvinge and Tuan Tran. They are able to get out of it without making contact. Not a lot of cases where you can actually touch in these cars and get away with it. It can be a little bit fragile. So it's Vandenbelt up in the front, Tran in second, and Rosenvinge back down to third. Now they could work together to use that draft to try and stretch away, but Padacek is already closing in on them. Meantime, we've switched back to Francis Doré, who's in a great battle for 15th here.
Yeah, Francis Doré. In front of him is Adam Bradshaw. These two guys having a good old battle here. It's just gone quiet there for the immediate second. But in front of them, Mark Figueres. Then there's Aki Helveranta. And in front of him, Stefan Schmidt. Battles all over the place at the moment. Eric Leukel as well, and Joachim Lundgren. Quite a few battles going on as they negotiate. They work in lap 2 right now, Joe.
A lot of action on screen right now. Let's go back to Tuan Tran, still holding down second as they come out of these long right-handers onto the back stretch that takes us to Blanchimont. Let's see if he can close in with the draft. He's starting to pull in. Is he going to look to the inside before they hit Blanchimont? He does. He's going to have to give up that position, Johan Vandenbelt, and he does give it away to Tuan Tran. Rosenvinge does sit behind in third. Now they come down to the braking of the bus stop chicane. Is anybody going to try and make a move? It's still very early on. We got an hour and 4 minutes left, and they decide to stay single file, even though Tran goes defensive down into the chicane.
And Joe, I want to say, have you seen how quickly Wacek has caught up with this back in front?
Very quickly. We're looking at Lundgren, but beside them, Cel Seidel heads into the pits. This is interesting. I'm wondering if he had a penalty or if maybe he's trying an alternate strategy. Now, remember, they can go a little bit long and then have a splash and dash at the end. So maybe Marcel is trying to get out of everybody's way and pit early, then do his second stop about halfway and do a long second stint.
Yeah, very mysterious. Very mysterious. Having a look at the weather here, Joe, which we haven't mentioned before. It is quite warm on track there, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. With clear sky, so it's going to be tough on the guys. He didn't take tires. He's taken a little bit of fuel, so you may be correct that there didn't seem to be any problem for Marcel.
Back up at the lead, we've got another lead chain. Robin Rosenvinge on the inside of Vandenbelt. Going to have it coming into the chicane of Lecombe, and he slips into first. Vandenbelt into second. Tuan Tran now with the train. We saw this last season. Guys swapping positions up front. Nobody willing to just sit behind. Now it looks like they've gapped just a little bit back to Padacek. It's about 2 seconds back to him. So whatever they're doing seems to be working. I think maybe they're finally learning to work together. Meanwhile, behind Padacek, it's a whole 3 seconds back to his teammate, Vincent Brame. So we've got those top three, and then it's just a little bit spread out farther back down the field.
Yeah, that's correct. And Vincent wants to try and get up near Wojciech so that they could work together in an attempt to catch the top three. Mind you, it's a long race to go, and we are getting information. We need to go back to Tran.
Yes, we are riding on board with him. We saw underneath the car now, we're just over the roll hoop, watching those hands work inside that Skippy as they work their way through Fannies. Let's see what they can do down in this corner. Are they going to stay still? Yes, everybody knows how the deal works here at Spa. Nobody's making any wild moves, even though they're very close to one another. The action is going to erupt once again now here on the backstretch, heading towards Blanchimont. Are we going to see a lead change?
Joe, you can see that the weather has got some effect on these cars. You can see how they weave around coming into those corners. Here we go. Here we go. Twan Tran staying in place, but Johan van der Belt having a look, having just a little bit of a peek. Robin Rosenfinger in front, but looks like they are. There goes Robin and Johan van der Belt. No, they're not going to try anything. Trying something into the chicane here is really risky.
Yep, and we've switched back to ninth with Eric Lukal. He has worked his way a little bit forward, though a couple of people pitting, some we think for penalties, some on strategy, and we'll see if that pays off. Right now he's chasing down Joachim Lundgren in 8th. He's pretty close, heading down into La Source. Is he going to take a peek to the inside? Just a little bit of a look, but he stays in line.
And Bastian Huisman into La Source. They're chasing Piers Cocky, who in turn is chasing Vincent Brehm. Now Piers Cocky, newcomer here, he's got a pretty useful drive going on here.
Let's go to Stefan Schmidt. We got a side-by-side situation into a Rouge, and Stefan comes out on top. Very tense moments. He cut that extremely close.
And now Stefan Schmidt on the rear end of who was that? Joachim Lundgren. He's going on the outside there. He looks like he's clear past. Another car coming up on the inside of Joachim Lundgren. That is Eric Lukal. 3 wide, 2 wide at least, and a third poking his nose in there. Very risky stuff. There's still 2 wide here. Eric Lukal and indeed Stefan Schmidt. So Stefan gets away with that one there. He had the inside line as they went through Lacombe, so he gets away with it, but pretty risky.
That was Schmidt in the blue and green car who was extra defensive, and it paid off. Meanwhile, we're going to Dennis Neagle in 18th, and it looks like he's trying to hold back Greg McEnany, who's also got Stephen Paul behind him. Not terribly close on track, so he's not under threat at the moment. Up front, it sounds like Twan Tran has taken over the lead from Vandenbelt while we weren't looking to been down into Lacombe, the popular spot. Now as they head into Fannies, it is Tran, Vandenbelt, and Rosenfinger.
Now, Joe, it's interesting to me. Rosenfinger has made no real attempt to try and grab the lead. He sat behind watching the 2 in front, swapping positions from time to time. But he's stayed fairly constant in 3rd place. That has got to be a strategy move. He's playing a kind of a waiting game here. Maybe saving some fuel, I don't know.
I was wondering if anybody was going to attempt that, actually. And looking back, Wojciech Potacek has gained some ground. He's now only a second and a half behind, so he's gained about half a second on these guys. I wouldn't put it past Rosenfinger to start thinking ahead, seeing how these guys are swapping places, and seeing if he could jump them in the pits. So good call there.
Yeah, and you know, just looking at Vincent Brehm and his teammate there, Wojciech Potacek, these guys are expending loads of fuel trying to catch up because they've got to really be on the hammer to try and catch these guys in front. No draft for them.
Meanwhile, a battle between Lukal and Schmidt once more. Oh, and we might have had some contact there between Joachim Lundgren and Mark Vigueras. I'm not sure if we caught that on screen. Mark looking to the outside, heading down into La Source. He's trying to get a pass. We're going to get a replay in just a second. Let's see if this goes down with the pass from Mark Vigueras. He goes wide, looks for the over-under. Doesn't quite get the launch, though. However, just ahead of them, Stefan Schmidt does on Eric Lukal, and he's going to be able to get past him before they get down to Eau Rouge. Now, I think we have time to look at that replay, see if there was any contact. Oh. Now, yes, we were worried they were going to go side by side through Eau Rouge, but now we have time.
And Eric Neagle going on the outside there of Schmidt, trying to get the position back. I think it's clear past.
We're on replay at the moment, and that was Lundgren and Figueres. We're going to see if there was any contact coming through the chicane. They are battling at the moment down into Lacombe. Let's see if Joachim actually touches there. You can see he gets very close to the car in front, and then the car behind. It was marginal. It was very tough to tell. I don't see any damage on his car, so there must not have been contact. Meanwhile, back live, current order in these cars is Neagle in 8th. Then we've got Schmidt in 9th, Figueres in 10th. Behind them, it's Joachim Lundgren in 11th, and Aki Helverante was slow there coming out of Ravage. Not sure if anything happened to that 12th place car.
And let's just go back to the front here, because what has happened in the progress, the process of all that replaying is that Robin Rosenfinger has gone into 2nd place. Tuan Tran has fallen back into the 3rd place now. So maybe Tran made a mistake and Robin took the opportunity, but it's now Robin Rosenfinger in 2nd place and leading the race at this point, Johan van den Belt. So let's see, Joe, if Robin decides.
And it sounds like Stephen Paul's having a hard time through Pouan there. You can see he slid out. We just saw it on screen. We're going to look at it again. I think that was driver error. And Richard, these cars, that's not uncommon in these fast corners when you have to lift.
Oh, absolutely. And that is pretty scary. You've got to get your braking just right for Pouan, because otherwise you are going to just slide way out to the right there.
We switch back now to the leaders in live action. Annabelle up in the front in that tan and black machine. Rosenfinger in the blue and white one. Now we go back to 7th place. Pierre Skaki, who's been in quite a few battles throughout this race. Right now he's trying to reel in Bastian Husmann for that 6th position now as they head towards La Source.
And meanwhile, Wojciech Podacek is just outside draft range on the top 3 there. If you can just get a little bit more going, you'll be inside the 2-second range and maybe grab some draft.
Yes, we just get glimpses of Podacek in that green and black machine at the back of this train. We're seeing the top 3 leaders, Van den Belt in front, Rosenfinger in 2nd, Tuan Tran in 3rd. Now they're going to swap positions down the Kimmel Straight. Rosenfinger looking to the outside of Johan Van den Belt. Here comes Tuan Tran. He's got both of them giving him a tow, and he ducks to the inside just like we saw on the first lap. Tuan Tran has the advantage down to the inside. He's now a full car ahead of Rosenfinger. Johan Van den Belt backs out by the time they hit to the braking, and the positions change as Tuan Tran takes the lead. Rosenfinger slots into 2nd, and Van den Belt into 3rd. Now we look at Neagle back in 9th, challenging on Stefan Schmidt.
Meanwhile, Pirsky has passed Bastian Huisman and taken over the 6th position now.
Boy, Pierre's is doing a great job for a newcomer, getting all the way up into 6th. Though this league is called the Absolute Beginners, there's quite a bit of talent. It's diverse. It's Absolute Beginners because they want to try and help coach and make drivers better if they come in as a newcomer, but there is by no means a requirement that they have to be new to iRacing.
That is absolutely correct. And Piers Cocky is emptying now. We're getting information. We need to switch to David Burns. What's happening there, Joe?
Well, he's currently sitting in 18th position, and right now he's got Dennis Neagle all over the rear wing of that car. And look at Burns really carrying the speed down through that left-hander, just all the way off the track.
Now, remember David Burns, let me see, he qualified. Where did he qualify? Oh no, he qualified in 4th place. What is he doing back there?
Remember, Burns had to duck into the pits. We think he may have had a penalty at the start.
That is correct now. We got a Victor's message to switch. I can't remember who it was.
Neagle, I believe. He is sitting in 9th, and actually he's side by side. I'm trying to figure out which driver
Schmidt.
that is. Schmidt, yes, once again, these guys have been fighting back and forth quite a bit. Schmidt in the blue and green machine as they come through Blanchimont. He has to give up. Oh, and almost makes contact. Here comes Mark Figueres, splitting him 3 wide down to the chicane, and he's going to have it. Great move.
Yes, that was very close from Neagle on Schmidt. And as he touched the brakes to avoid that contact, along comes Mark Figueres and goes right down the middle. Great move, as you say. Now they head towards La Source, and Mark has the position. And then it's Schmidt, and then it's Neagle. So these guys have been battling a lot. Go ahead, Joe.
Just behind them, there's a battle going on behind Lundgren and Aki Helveranta down into La Source. You just see it on the screen, but now just off screen, it looks like they're still side by side. Are we going to see a 2-wide situation down into Eau Rouge?
Maybe. In fact, they are 2 wide. Are they going to make it through there? 2 wide is horrible through Eau Rouge. And they do make it through safely, though.
Joachim Lundgren comes out on top in the blue machine. Up to the front, it's Robin Rosenvinge at the end of the Kimmel Straight leading the way. Tuan Tran in second and Johan Vanderbilt in third. These guys still swapping positions. And look at this. Look at the gap between Vanderbilt and Potacek. It's now up to 3 seconds. So they are streaking away.
Yeah, see, the problem for Potacek is he doesn't have any draft as he goes really loses it going through there, and that's not going to help his cause at all. Probably lost a couple of tenths right there.
We didn't see it on screen, but Potacek was almost drifting it through Rivage, but somehow managed to hold on to it. Let's look at a replay of that.
Yeah, it's worth a replay. He was really close to losing it there, Joe.
You can see just how much the back end on that little Formula car getting out on him. They don't have a lot of downforce, so it is pretty easy to get these things loose. Here we're looking at Potacek sitting in 4th as he has for most of this race. He's going to hope that those guys tangle if he's going to be able to get any sort of position. Now we switch to Huseman, who is sitting in 6th.
Yeah, there's a three-way battle here with Cocky at the back there. Then Heisman in front, and they've caught up with Vincent Brahim, and the battle is on here for what is around about 6th, 7th, and 8th place.
It looks like actually 6th and 7th position. Vincent Brahim is leading the way of this trio. He's the teammate of Potacek, as we mentioned, to that green and black machine, but he's going to be under threat for that 5th position. Here comes Bastian Huseman. He backs out by the time they hit Blanchimont. There's just nowhere to go. And we're back to the lead where we've got a lead change going on. It's Rosenvinge holding off Tuan Tran through the chicane. Tran trying to pull the over-under, has nowhere to go. Vanderbilt right behind him as well. Now they head down into La Source once more. 49 minutes left to go on the clock, and they are on lap 8. Still not time for a pit stop quite yet. We're on board Vanderbilt, who's sitting in 3rd. Nobody makes a move down into La Source. Let's see what happens as they head into Eau Rouge.
And Joe, very nice length between each of those 3 as they came into La Source there. Now, Johan Vanderbilt is just a little way back, just in front of him. Tuan Tran now we'll have a look, and almost certainly will pass Robin Rosenvinge heading up the Kimmel Straight. Oh, it's Johan van der Belt, clear by on the inside here behind Joe. And will we see 3 wide once again? I believe so.
It's Johan Vanderbilt with the advantage ahead and inside down into Lecum. Tran's not going to give it up, though. He's going to fight back on the outside. Can he get it when it switches back left? It looks like he's got it, but it's going to go right one more time up into Malmedy, and it's Johan Vanderbilt who comes up on top.
Yeah. Look, I think these guys have been doing this virtually every single lap, so they know what they're doing, and certainly they know. There's another. Almost a lose from Tuan Tran into the bypass there, Joe.
We just caught a little bit of it. We were about to switch to Schmidt, who was sitting in 9th as he was still trying to chase down Figueres, who had that great move we saw earlier, splitting them out of Blanchimont, and doesn't seem to have given the position up quite yet. We heard some chatter over the radio, drivers asking about pit strategy, which they really probably should have been doing some research and testing some things out before they got here. But we're looking back from Vanderbilt, and first I know it was Francis Dores, currently sitting 15th, asking if they needed tires.
dear, oh dear. Okay, so those are the newcomers just feeling their way. You're quite right, though. You don't get into a major championship without doing your homework. And if these guys haven't done their homework, it explains why they sitting quite far back. Mind you, Francis Dore is in 15th place, so that's kind of almost around the halfway point in the mid-pack there. So he's doing okay. But meanwhile, Joe, let's go back here. Potacek may have caught up a little bit now. He's looking like he might only be a couple of seconds off the pace there right now.
We were riding on board with Vanderbilt, looking back at Tran, whose nose was right up his tailpipe. They're heading to the braking of the chicane. And Vanderbilt, interestingly, goes defensive into there, not wanting Tran to try and make a move. So they stay in order as we go back to Lundgren, in 12th position. He's sandwiched between the cars of Neptune and Helveranta, down into the chicane themselves as well, a little bit behind. Helveranta not really making a move as they stay in order as well. And nobody heading into the pits among them.
Yeah, well done on these guys. They obviously think quite nicely now. And we're getting more information. Our director's very busy.
He's keep us up to date. Wachek is now only a second and a half. He's cut down that 3-second gap as that yo-yos back and forth with our leaders battling up in front of him. It's starting to grow, though. It's now up to 1.8. That draft is just helping our leaders so much up in front of them that he can't seem to gain time like he's supposed to with the slipstream just ahead of them. Tuan Tran is currently in the lead, but he's got Robin Rosenvinge just on the inside. Rosenvinge takes it away from him into Lacombe, so it's Rosenvinge, Tran, and Vanderbilt.
Well, Potacek is within draft range now, and I think he's going to be really happy about that. I'm pretty sure he's used a lot more fuel than the three in front of them, but certainly he's caught up and he's in the draft. Meanwhile, Vincent Brame is struggling to do the same thing. And the big mover, I'm liking this Piers Cocky, Joe. He has done a fantastic job here, and he is just shadowing Brame at the moment, following him, saving a bit of fuel, and hopefully these two will be able to catch up. Certainly they might be able to do something during the pit stops. Indeed, if he's been saving that fuel, it could help him leapfrog once they head in for a top up on that. Now we go to Johan Vanderbilt, the third place driver once again. Now we were on board looking over the shoulder of Potacek a little bit ago, and you could see how much he had closed in. You're right, Richard. He really utilized the braking well because it was up to 2 seconds down the Kimmel Straight. Now it's down to 1 second, and he continues to close. We're going to have a 4-car battle for the lead with 45 minutes still left to go. And we're on board with Potacek right now as they negotiate the Blanchimont section of the course here. We go to that very, very tough left-hander there in front of Potacek. You've got the three leaders. They look like they're all over the place, but in reality, Joe, they're quite safe. They know what they're doing, and it's good to see them racing so nice and cleanly. And certainly they go into the bus stop now. Potacek right on them right now.
They're certainly showing their expertise. Tuan Tran in the lead, but way off. Coming out of the chicane. He just keeps his foot in it. It's all paved over there, so really not too much of a drama. Rosenvinge in second. Johan Vanderbilt in third. He's looking to the inside, down into La Source, but then backs back into line. Potacek now right on the tail as we still ride on board with him. This is going to be it. He is definitely within drafting range, and it is now, for sure, a 4-car battle for the lead. We're not even at the halfway point here, Richard.
Yeah, you're quite correct. I'm sorry, I just had a bit of a thought there. Tuan Tran was so far off track, I was wondering whether he was going into the pits or not.
I don't think he can get in from there. I don't think there's an opening. So he's now being challenged by Rosenvinge around the outside. That draft just allowing him to swap positions with ease. Here comes Vanderbilt, now looking to the inside of Tran, trying to slot into second. He tries to outbrake him into Lacombe. He's going to be on the inside for this one, but it switches back. Tran goes off course, loses traction, loses the position. Potacek has nowhere to go, so he has to hold back and stay in fourth. Yeah, Potacek looked like he was going to attack Tran there, but thought the better of it.
Now they go into Ravage, a little tiny break there, and Potacek right in the mix right at this point in time. He is going to be challenging for one of those 4 spots. There might even be the lead very soon.
Let's give a shout out to Frederick Neptune, qualified 21st, currently sitting 9th, and actually challenging 10th, and challenging Joachim Lundgren for 9th. Although he does have a little bit of car to worry about behind him. That's Aki Helveranta sitting in 11th, very closely actually, you can see on screen.
Yeah, there's a good battle going between these 3, Frederick Nepp, Joachim Lundgren, and Aki Helveranti. Now Stefan Schmidt was part of this little pack where he's just kind of disappeared there. He's far back.
We're watching Mark Figueres go wide at the exit of Pouan. To answer your question, Stefan Schmidt, I think, has pitted. I'm going to double check that. And yes, he has stopped in the pits. So Stefan Schmidt has slipped down the order to 19th because he has taken his stop. So we'll have to wait and see once everybody else stops to see where he sorts out.
Back to the front here. What check. They come now down towards the final section before the bus stop. Looks like Tuan Tran using a lot of track there. He's racking up some incident points there, Joe. As we see Johan van der Belt on the outside, on the inside, that's Robin Rosenfinger, Tuan Tran in there, and Potacek in there as they head now back towards La Source once again, and they back to single file.
Our top 4 drivers all within 0.7 of a second. Now they hit La Source one more time. Jump on board Potacek once again, looking over his right shoulder as they plunge down the hill. The order: Rosenfinger in the lead, Vanderbilt in second, Tuan Tran in third, and Potacek in fourth. We talk about being content to hold back. Potacek has not really been making many attempts to try and get in front of these guys. Remember, he had to use a little bit more fuel to try and catch them. I'm wondering if he too is just content to stay behind. Now we've got Vanderbilt looking on the outside of Rosenfinger, slingshotting by as they head around the kink up the hill towards Lacombe.
And they went into the arc 2x2, and here we are 2x2 going into Lacombe. And I tell you what, Potacek attempting now. He'll have the inside into Lacombe. On Tran there, he backs out of it. Oh, that's close. That is close.
Ever so close. We gave him just enough room behind them. They are still dropping back despite all this battling. As we saw, it was Brame about 8.5 seconds back. But now we are back on Burns. Remember, he took an early stop, we think, for a penalty, although I'm wondering if that could have been for him just trying an alternate strategy, although that would have been very early. I'm not sure if he can make it on 2 stops by stopping on the very first lap. He's worked his way back up into 10th, and he's trying to chase down Francis Dorde, who's about 7 seconds ahead. So as we switch to Schmidt, we also know has taken his stop. He's on the outside of Aki Helveranta down into Lacombe.
Meanwhile, Joe, we've got Joachim Lundgren, Frederick Neptune doing battle. They're coming down the hill towards Pouan there now. They've been very close for quite some time, these two. A good battle developing here for what is 7th and 8th place.
And actually, yes, that is 7th and 8th place. You're correct. That would be Joachim Lundgren behind in the lighter colored blue car, and the darker colored blue car is Frederick Neptune as they head through Fagnes. We are only on lap 11. That's how long these laps are for these little cars.
Now, Joe, have a look at the front here. Potacek is just right off the pack in front. I wonder if he made a mistake there because he is way behind once again. That's a 1.5 seconds easy.
Wonder if he got some damage and we didn't notice it. Yeah, he's about 1.5 seconds, as you said, behind Tuan Tran. And
a whole lot.
Yeah.
4 heading into the pits.
Strategy call being made by one, and everybody else follows as Robin Rosenfinger leads them down to their stalls. Now, these are a long pit lane, so you do not want to have to make an extra stop. Obviously, they are on the Grand Prix version, so they're going to stop here. Still, it's quite a bit of a ways down to the front. Johan van der Belt is going to be the one at the very front of them. You saw cars going through each other. That is normal here in iRacing. It is a little bit difficult for cars to navigate pit lanes, so they let them quote-unquote ghost once they hit their pit stalls.
Yeah, and Vincent Brian Pierce-Cocky also in the pits. Here they start to come out, the top guys. Hang on, what's happening here? Wojciech Podacek coming out.
With a big gap.
Rosenfinger's got a big gap. You're quite right there, Joe. And some losers. Wojciech Podacek didn't get out as quickly as he would have liked.
And here comes David Burns up into second after his first lap stop. Question is, can he make it to the end? He is just ahead of Tuan Tran. These two are going to have to work together because at the moment they've got 2 seconds up to Rosenfinger. How did he get out there 2 seconds quicker? That's an incredible stop.
That was a very good stop. I was watching there, done all the same things. Now remember, Joe, at the last race there, David Burns eked out the fuel and just ran out, meters from the end of the race. So maybe he's trying that same strategy again today, but he's got himself into 9th position, it looks like now. It might be a little different once they cross the line.
He's actually currently scored in 3rd on the track. Tran is just ahead of him in 2nd. Now, they've gained a little bit of ground. It's about 1.8 up to Rosenfinger, but they are going to have to hustle to make sure that he doesn't run away with this thing. Meanwhile, big losers back there. Johan van der Belt about 3 seconds behind Burns, and Podacek another 2 seconds behind van der Belt. Just like we saw last season, Richard, as soon as the pit stops came, everything started to stretch out.
Exactly. And Marcel Seidel is also in the picture. He is just behind, well, a couple seconds behind Wojciech. But these guys have lost out big time. Johan van der Belt was, racing for the lead, the fan belt there. And now he's got to battle and use up his fuel to try and catch onto the tail of the leaders. So, yeah, the pit stops can make big changes. And we're getting information to switch here to Mark Figueres.
Figueres is in a battle with, trying to see who that is exactly. That's Aki Helverante, who's been in a lot of action today. We've seen Aki many times in side-by-side battles. In fact, they are side-by-side now, coming out of Fagnes, now down into Curva Paul Frere. And it's going to be Aki that comes out in front, but that could switch now as they hit the backstretch.
Yep, and good battle right here. Mark Figueres on the inside now, down Blanchimont, and on the, he's on the outside. On the inside is, in fact, Aki, and they go still too wide here, starting to get anxious moments here because this turn is very tight. Mark Figueres slides the car in, goes wide. He has to, otherwise they can't make it through there too wide, Joe, but he does get the position or hold on to the position, whatever the case may be.
Oh, and look at Aki squirm under the brakes trying to get that car slowed. Great job from him. I'm curious, I'm not sure if they're going to have stewards look at that because Mark actually gained that position off track by just keeping the power on and going wide. I don't know what their ruling is on that, but we'll have to talk to them afterwards. Meanwhile, we are looking at David Burns, who has headed into the pits for his second stop. So he is slotting back down the order after he was looking at challenging for second place with Tuan Tran, who has continued on since he has kept his stop. And just an update there, that gap between Rosenfinger and Tran is about 1.6 seconds. He is just within the draft if he can push.
Yeah, he should be able to make up time every time they go up the or up or down the long straights. But 1.6 seconds, you just kind of in the draft. So Rosenfinger now, if he pushes hard, has an opportunity to try and break the draft and get some clear air, and that will change things up. But Robert doing a great job. He sat in third position for quite some time and then carried on, took second place, then first place. Now we see him leading this race. The only one he's got to think about at this point in time is Tuan Tran.
Well, we ride on board with Marcel Seidel, who's trying to chase down Podacek at that fourth position. We ride on his rear wing down through the very fast Puhan corner. And he's not really making ground, unfortunately. He's already about a second behind Podacek. Seidel gained some ground in the pit stops on Wojciech, but it seems like that number 28 machine of Wojciech Podacek has the legs at the moment.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the Piscocky, Vincent Brame. That was a little battle that we had going before the pit stops. And now there's a little gap. There's about two second gap between these two. So that has kind of petered out as well.
Yeah, in fact, we're looking a little farther back at 16th with Daniel De Vos, who's doing too bad about halfway up the field. In fact, he's lost positions. He started 14th. I thought he had started a little farther back, but Daniel De Vos slipping back, and he's trying to chase down Adam Bradshaw. You can see he's got about just a second up to that orange, white, and green machine.
Joe, it's gone very quiet all of a sudden here in terms of hills. I'm having a look down there. Frederick Neptune and Aki Alvarante. That's about the closest battle we have here, Aki and Mark Figueres. But other than that, there's at least a couple of seconds gap between each car. But Aki Alvarante is still trying to get that position from Mark Figueres, who took the position from him a couple of laps ago. They come through the bus stop now, heading back towards La Source. Just having a look in front of them there, a bunch of cars in the pits as well. That's about the only battle at the moment.
Yep, Aki not able to make any sort of impression down into La Source. He's going to get the draft, though, once they come out of Eau Rouge. They are plunging towards. There you can see Mark Figueres in the tan and black machine. Aki in the black car with the blue rims. They're going to jump on his roll bar, see what it looks like with that slipstream pulling him up. You can see even before they get through this infamous corner, he is closing at a fast rate of knots. Dips to the side. He's going to have the outside, but will the speed allow him to get through?
Well, he's clear by at the moment. It's kind of two parts to this. Mark Figueres will come back now at him, and whether Mark will try and take it out, Mark backs out. Very wise move there. Let's just leave it for this lap. Mark is saying we won't try and take the position back. I'll just see what he's got.
Those are just inside the top 10. Mark currently in 10th, Aki in 9th. They have about 3 seconds up to Bastian Husmann, so they've got to work together like that to try and close the gap to see how much farther up they can get. And I agree, Richard, it's after the pit stops, it is really just quieted down as everybody's got their own space of track. And I wonder if we're seeing slightly different pit stop strategies. If some guys, maybe you're taking a little bit of a shorter stop as we see Mark Figueres actually blink out for a second. And maybe that's what is causing people to separate a bit, is everybody's trying something a little bit different to try and outgun each other.
Yeah, that's probably true. I'm gonna just having a look right around the back there to see which cars are still on the lead lap, and looks like the last car on the lead lap is Struan Wilkie at this point in time. Stefan Schmidt, who was battling for a good position before. He is the second last car. Well, he's now the last car on the lead lap as well. Struan Wilkie has moved up a little bit. Francis Dore is out there, Stefan Schmidt. So these are the last cars on the lead lap. But yeah, Joe, it's gone quiet, but don't let that fool us, because we have seen things go quiet and then become really explosive towards the end. I think they've got another pit stop to go still, or possibly not. I'm not sure.
Yes, they have one more that everybody's got to make. We're still watching Aki trying to battle his way past Mark Figueres. For those who are counting, we are now past the halfway point. We kicked it off at about the 35-minute mark. We've just got a half an hour left to go here. And then we're going to see the checkered flag here in round one. For those wondering, our top runners as we continue to watch this battle are Robin Rosenvinge in first, Tuan Tran in second, Johan Vandeveld is in third, Wojciech Podacek in fourth, and rounding out the top five is a very well-running Piers Koki, a newcomer to the league.
Yes, indeed. Well, let's just go back to Aki Halvarante. He is the 10th place at this point. Now, just in front of him, you've got Mark Figueres. We've been calling that little battle. In front of them, you've got a few seconds up in front, Bastian Huisman. And then you've got Eric Leukel, and then you've got Vincent Brame in. So that's the next five. I have a feeling that next 5 will start closing up slowly but surely, and the battles are going to come. We just have to wait for them, and it's going to be close to the end as usual, Joe.
Absolutely, and let's give some credit to Eric Lukal in 7th because he started 13th. He is another guy who is new to this league and has worked his way forward quite nicely. You see in his blue, white, and red number 42 machine. So I just want to give a tip of the hat, give him some screen time, even though he's all by himself at the moment, for running a nice quiet race up in the top 10.
Well, exactly. He and Piaski are the two newcomers to the series here by the looks of it. And both of them in the top 10. Piaski in the top 5. So he's done a fantastic job. And last year's winner, Joe, Vincent Brame, appears to be struggling. He's 19 seconds back off the lead. So he's not having the very best day today.
Now remember, Vincent really wasn't, I'm trying to remember how many he won, because I remember he didn't win too many races last season. It was his consistency that won him out and got him the championship. In fact, he didn't even win the last round. I believe he finished in 2nd position in that race, if I'm recalling correctly. So he knows how to play this game. He knows how to win championships. Vincent is not out of this just because he's in 6th right now. We've jumped on board with Mark Figueres, looking back from that 9th position back to Aki as this battle continues to rage here on lap 15. Aki's dropped back to about a second behind, but he has not given up yet.
That's correct. And of course, we mentioned that that is Aki's the last of the next top 5. He's in 10th position. Then it's a fair way back there to Frederick Deptue. But Aki goes quite deep into the corner. They're trying to make up some time on Mark Figueres. And yeah, oof, it was indeed. But I tell you what, they are slowly closing on Bastian Huisman there, who in turn is slowly closing on Eric Lukal. So hopefully we'll get a battle happening here in the not too distant future.
And just to give you an idea of how much that mistake cost him, it was about 0.8 to be exact when I said it was about a second behind. He is now 1.8, so he lost an entire second from outbraking himself. Up front, though, Robin Rosenvinge has something else to worry about that's about a second behind. That is Tuan Tran, only now almost half a second behind. So Tran has reeled him in, and the battle for the lead is back on.
And Johan van der Belt, I get the impression that he is slowly making up ground on the 2. He's still a fair way back, but he's going to be losing out now. If Robin and Tuan get in each other's draft, then Johan van der Belt is going to really start to fall back, because 2 cars drafting each other are going to be a lot faster than Johan running by himself. And of course, Wojciech Podacek did a lot of hard work trying to catch up to the top 3. He is got to do it all over again and use up his precious fuel in the process.
We ride on board looking over the shoulder of Tuan Tran. You can see him lit onto the slipstring of Rosenvinge. That gap between Tran behind that we can't see and Van der Belt is about 5 seconds. So I'm not sure. Let's see what the lap times are looking like between them on Van der Belt and Tran. About a 2:50. In fact, Van der Belt
going for the lead on Robin Rosenvinge. Rosenvinge doesn't fight back. He allows Tuan Tran to take the lead. He slots in behind him. This might be his opportunity to save a bit of fuel. He goes just using the standard line. Tuan Tran thinks he's attacking, but he's not really attacking. Tuan going a little defensive there. Unnecessary for him to do that. I don't think that Robin is attempting to try and repass Tran at this point. He's playing it a little cool here.
Yep, he slots into second there in that black, white, and blue car behind the black machine of Tuan Tran. Now, I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure that Tran hasn't won a race last season since he stepped in about halfway through. So as we hop on board the roll bar of Robin, I wonder if Tran is looking to try and finally break that duck and get himself a P1.
Well, he threatened last season. No, he hasn't won a race, I don't think. Now, here comes Robin Rosenfinger once again. Tran just going defensive. I think Tran's trying to fight for that first place and trying to hang on to it, but it's a lost cause going up the Camel Straight. You're going to lose that position to whoever's behind you, no matter what you do.
Yeah, I don't think that is going to work out well for him if he tries to continue to fight to get ahead of him. At best, all it's going to do is allow them to go a little bit faster than Vanderbilt, who's so far behind at this point. I don't think he's going to be a serious threat. So, I'm wondering. Remember you mentioned Brame going, or not Brame? It was Burns who went on a one-stopper at the final round. I wonder if anybody could save enough fuel if they just stayed behind for almost the whole race and tried to make it a one-stopper. But it's probably too late now for them to attempt that.
Yeah, no, remember, didn't actually work for Burns in that last race. Ran out of fuel just before the end of the race, so it didn't work. The one stop, they have to do two stops. If I'm in a race like this, Joe, and I'm thinking, okay, I've got to do two stops, there's a couple of different strategies. For me, I just split it up into thirds, I think.
Could be one way to do it. However, you do need that draft to hold on to whoever's in front, unless you think you're faster by yourself. So let's take a look at DeVos here. We haven't spent a lot of time looking at him, and he is currently sitting in 16th position. Actually, he might have a bit of a battle. He's got Adam Bradshaw just ahead of him, trying to break into that top 15 as they work their way back down the hill now.
Yeah, and Adam Bradshaw is following Marcel Seidel now. Seidel's a front runner, and he's battling at the moment to hang on to 14th position, but he appears to be catching the guy in front, which is Martin Tilstra. But after that, it's a little bleak. There's nothing but clear air in front. So not the greatest run for Marcel Seidel in this particular race.
Yeah, we're used to seeing him up in the lead pack. Just a heads up, though, Martin Tilstra is a lap down. In fact, 2 laps down, I've seen. Currently sitting in 22nd, so that is not poor position. Still, that could be a little bit of a whiff of a draft for Marcel to go a little faster around here. So as we ride on board with David Sistello in 17th, still fighting with Daniel DeVos and Adam Bradshaw. We are on lap 18 with 20 minutes left to go in the race.
Let's go on to Eric Lukol, who has caught up to Bastian Heisman. Will develop here very shortly as they go now into La Source. And then, of course, they will be going up the Camel Straight through Eau Rouge, Redalon, and up the Camel Straight, and look to see the draft kick in, and Lukol have a go at Bastian.
He's trying very hard, but that battle between DeVos is starting to heat up as he had a threat from Sistello down into the chicane, but nothing doing there. Let's see if Sistello can try and take him coming down to La Source.
Okay, while you're watching that battle, I am watching Eric Lukol going up Camel, and Bastian Heisman is looking like he's being reeled in by Eric Lukol. He's not quite close enough to try anything, but whoa, he does get really close going into Lake Coombe there, and now the battle is on for what is 7th and 8th position.
He is definitely within that draft range. But let's go back real quick to see what's going on with DeVos now that they are on that same Camel Straight. He's got the draft of Bradshaw. Is he going to try and work his way past? They got just about an even run coming up over Rodillion, it looks like. And behind them, Sistello is reeling them in at a quick rate of knots. Bradshaw goes defensive down into Lacombe's very defensive. He is almost past halfway across the track. That gives them a terrible entry, and both of them caught at the corner by David Sistello. So now they are 1, 2, 3 and 14th, 15th, and 16th with almost nothing between them.
And meanwhile, Eric Lukol, slight mistake there from Bastian, but he's on the defensive. He's trying to hang on to the position. Eric Lukol sensed that he was making a mistake and tried to go for it and didn't quite make it. And now they come down the long section that's going to lead on to Blanchimont. and onto the bus stop. So this will be an opportunity for Eric Neagle to get onto the rear, first of all, of Bastian Huisman, and possibly try and get the pass done before the bus stop, Joe.
He's pulled up behind him, but I think he's lifted. I'm not sure that Neagle's going to try it before Blanchemont. Now they head through that fast left-hander. I don't think he's close enough to try anything down in the chicane still. Huisman looking slightly defensive. He goes back to the line, and no change in order. Bastian 7th, Eric 8th.
Oh, Bastian going into the... That's just given up the position there to Neagle. Temporarily, of course, because I'm pretty sure Neagle has to do another stop as well, but battle over.
Sounds like Bastian is employing the strategy that you said you'd do as we're watching that battle between DeVos and Bradshaw. DeVos finally taking over the spot before they hit Blanchemont. But yeah, I get the feeling that Bastian's trying to split this up into equal thirds and see if he can throw anybody off by running his own pace. So as we watch DeVos down into the hairpin, Bradshaw taking a little bit of a look but moving back to the line down in front of Costello. You got to be careful of that though, Richard, because sometimes you can catch the guy behind you out doing that late move back to the line.
Yeah, correct. There's a good battle here between these three, and David Costello is in it as well. I mean, he's quietly watching the two in front of him, which is DeVos and Bradshaw. But at any moment, and as they go down now towards Eau Rouge, he could try and take the position, although it just looks like he's just running quietly behind these two.
So as we watch Tuan Tran still in second, I'm not sure if there's been swapping for positions up at the front. They've settled down, but it's currently Rosenvinge up at the front. Tran closing in down into Fagnes, but backs out of it. They did put a lap on Mark Figueres. That's the car you can see behind them. That is not Johan Vanderbilt, who I think is actually his teammate. But I'm not sure, did something happen to Figueres along the way? Because I'm showing 3 pit stops for him, and he's a lap down. I know he was a little farther back.
Something must have happened. In front of it, let's have a look. So Tuan Tran, these are the leaders. And they coming up to another lap car, Francis Dore. So they in amongst the traffic now. Francis does the right thing and just kind of pulls over to the left there, allows the leaders to pass, and then gets back on the gas again. Mark Figueres way behind. Something did possibly happen. I mean, showing him way behind right now.
I'm looking, it looks like he just took his second stop, so this must be a natural order actually for Figueres. It's going to change once our leaders go in for their second stop. They still have about 15 minutes left, and whoa, Tuan Tran heads in an unusual way. I'm not sure if he's going to get a penalty for unsafe entry there, going over the paint.
Yeah, but Mark's going into the pits as well, so that kind of smashes that theory that he was, so this is his 4th pit stop, if you're correct there, Joe.
I'm not seeing a third stop for him on the timing sheets, though. I think this is his 3rd stop. It must be my timing and scoring just giving me some wrong information. I think Figueres must have got a speeding penalty or something. This is really bizarre. Why is he coming in?
I've got the camera on him. He's at the pits there. He's just sitting quietly in his pit stall. He's not taking tires. Bear in mind, these guys told us last season that taking tires is actually quite a bad idea with this car.
So we're watching a pass between David Costello and Bastian Huisman. Excuse me, Daniel DeVos, actually. Down, that was around Blanchemont. Now they break for the chicane. See if any of these guys head in for their final stop.
Yeah, one of them, see, Adam Bradshaw's heading in. Daniel DeVos and Bastian Huisman. Hang on, what's going on here?
Bradshaw is in, you're correct.
Yeah, Bradshaw's in. Daniel DeVos stayed out. Just in front of him, David Costello. So David Costello got by Daniel DeVos in the last lap.
So let's give you the order, even though this is slightly skewed because we have guys making their final stops. Because I want to point something out. Rosenvinge is in the lead. Pierre's cocky. Even though he hasn't made his second stop, he is all the way up into 2nd place. This is impressive stuff. We'll see how he comes out once his pit stop is done. And then Vincent Brame is into 3rd. Tuan Tran, now that his last stop is done, has exited in 4th.
And Joe, interesting, on Van der Belt, who I believe he hasn't stopped yet for his stop. He goes wide there in Puan, but he is quite close, or relatively close to Tuan Tran right now. So that might give him a little bit of hope, and he is showing as being in 3rd place right now.
Now, I think Van der Belt has done his 2nd stop, actually. Yes, Van der Belt has done his 2nd stop. So that is the actual gap between himself and Tran, and it's about 1.5 seconds with about 12 minutes to go.
Well, we can tell you that Robin Rosenfinger has flown the coop. He is at least 5 seconds, possibly 6 seconds ahead of Tran at the moment, but we believe he still has to make another stop. So 6 seconds, if he's got to make another stop, 6 seconds is not enough time to hang on to the lead, I would think.
Well, actually, he has about 20 seconds over 2nd place Pierre's Cocky, who actually continues on himself. So both Rosenfinger and Cocky seem to be trying to run it dry and do a very long 2nd stint and a very short 3rd stint.
I'm just thinking, Joe, how wrong the actual iRacing screen is in terms of the actual the positions.
Keep in mind, it's always at the line, which is why sometimes we can get a little bit confused. However, my software right now showing live timing, so I can tell you that this is correct. Rosenfinger is leading, Cocky 2nd, Vincent Brame is 3rd, and Tran 4th. With as we said before, Van der Belt closing out the top 5. However, once again, let's take a little bit of a look. Eric Lukol sitting in 6th. Now, has he taken his last stop? I don't think he has. So I don't think he's as close as it looks like to Van der Belt, which currently the gap is about just under 2 seconds. So that's going to grow once Eric comes in for his 2nd stop of the day.
Well, look, 10th position is David Burns showing at the moment. He's just crossed the line, so that is his actual position right now. And there's a car on track.
Yeah, that's Strawn Wilkie. That's at the top of Eau Rouge. Radillion, and that is just, he went wide and started to lose control. Let's look at a replay of that.
That is a very bad place to be straddling the middle of the track there with us coming flying up.
We're going to look at it one more time. We caught just the tail end of the accident. Yeah, it looks like he just got loose as he went wide up over the top of the hill. And a very hard hit onto that inside wall, unfortunately, for Strawn Wilkie. He was already a lap down, I think, and this is just going to make his day worse, even still with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, you said it, Joe. I was about to comment that there's only about 10 minutes to go in the race, so everyone at this stage, one would think, would have had their pit stops done, or there might still be a couple that need to go in and do a splash and dash, as we call it, or as we say. Now, there was just, this is Strawn Wilkie being passed by everybody at the moment. So, Robin Rosenfinger leading this. So, did you say he still has to pit again? Because if he has to, that's going to be a problem for him as he goes into the pits right now. Let's watch this one. Whoa, he gets close to the wall going into the pits.
Using every inch of track, trying to push it as hard as he can. About Pierre's Cocky, he hasn't done his 2nd stop. He is going to have to come in as well. He comes up to the chicane. We don't see it on screen. We're looking at Tuan Tran in 4th, and Pierre's Cocky is going to continue on. He is going to take over the lead as Rosenving comes into his stall. Now, remember, Tuan Tran was the one we want to watch here.
Yep, I'm watching Tuan Tran, and just in front of him is Vincent Brame. So we're thinking that Tuan Tran is going to be the one in the box seat, having made his stop already.
Oh, but Rosenfinger is out, and he's got a gap to Tran.
Wow, excellent stuff from Rosenfinger there. Tuan Tran now has to get past Vincent Brame and try and catch up once again to Robin Rosenfinger. It's Robin Rosenfinger is up to speed now, going up the Camel Straight just in front of Tran. Tran will make up a little bit of time on him as they go up here, because of course Robin Rosenfinger wouldn't have been at full speed on this very first outlap. Vincent Brame, on the other hand, goes past Tuan Tran again, so we have to just wait for it to shake out one more lap. But there's not a lot of time left, Joe.
And just behind Johan Vanderbilt is trying to get by as well. We had tense moments. Cars swirling all over the place trying to get past Tran. Now that gap between Rosenvinge and Tuan Tran is just over 3 seconds, actually 3.5 seconds. So Rosenvinge stretched a great gap. His pit stops have been on the ball today, allowed him to really stretch away. Now Tran caught him before. Can he do it again with 7 minutes to go?
And Vincent Brame just out of the way there and allowed both Vanderbilt and Tuan Tran to go past. And it's obvious to me that Tuan Tran and Johan van der Belt are fighting for position here. Vincent Brame kind of feels like he's not in it, so he's just let the other two go there, Joe. Pretty strange.
Now Pierre Skaki has stretched his fuel quite a ways compared to the other guys. I'm wondering if he's going to be able to make it to the pits here on lap 22. We've jumped on board with Johan as he trails behind Tuan Tran. There you can see that beautiful camera view underneath the car. Thankfully we don't have to worry about physical cameras, otherwise I would think this thing would have been scraped off in the compression going up Eau Rouge.
And Johan van der Belt goes to the inside on Tran, and pretty easy pass there. Tran just allows him to go past, and Tuan Tran thinks, well, we have to go up Camel one more time at least, or quite a few more times. I'll get him then. So Tran backs it off, and they go into the bus stop nicely, single file, and they start a new lap within a second or so. Brame has gone into the pits meanwhile, but we'll keep an eye on Tuan Tran and Johan van der Belt, because this is for position, and we are talking about the last podium position at the moment.
Pierre Skaki has also relinquished the lead to take his final stop. I'm curious to see if the newcomer comes out. We are on board with Tran, still trying to chase down Vandenbelt. The fan belt is solidly within a podium position. If these guys can hold on to it, it's still 11 seconds back to Wacek Potacek. So it is all between these two battling it out. If Rosenvinge can hold on to this 3-second lead up at the front.
Yeah, I'm looking at that lead. It's 3 seconds at the moment as we see Johan van der Belt, Tuan Tran, in fact, going past Johan van der Belt. These two guys are going to be, they have to work together. There's not a lot of time left. In fact, it looks like there can be only about 4 or 5 minutes left in this race. So maybe a couple, maybe 3 more laps at most, Joe. So these guys have got to do everything they can to try and catch up to Rosenvinge, who is not that far ahead. Possibly 2-3 seconds ahead there. They may be able to catch him if they can get into the draft, but if they start battling each other, it's all over.
Let's stay on this battle, but just a little bit of an update. Remember, we were worried about those incident points. It sounds like Mark Figueres fell victim to that. He had some choice words that we can't really share with you on air, but he was a little upset about him falling afoul of the incident limit. But it's equal for everybody. And unfortunately, them's the breaks when it comes to racing around Spa. It can be very difficult to stay on track around here with all that paved runoff. Meanwhile, still on Vanderbilt in third, Tuan Tran in second, fighting very hard to see who can get that P2 when the checkered flag falls.
Yeah, and it's a battle now for second. I think they've realized they will not be able to catch Robin Rosenvinge, and so they are battling for the second position. And as they go around the right hand and now heading down Blanchimont, I tell you, Robin Rosenvinge, you can't relax here, Joe. If he makes one mistake, these two will be right on him. As we see Jan van der Belt thinking about making a move on Tran. He's not having a look at the stage. He's just, they go through the very fast left-hander there in Blanchimont. He goes a little wide. He doesn't have enough to try and make a move before the bus stop, so he falls into line. But it's a bit of an illusion, or are they catching Robin Rosenvinge there?
I'm seeing the gap still at about 2.5 seconds, so they haven't gained by the clock. But yeah, it looks closer Now, speaking of the clock, they just crossed just over 3 minutes, so they are going to have this lap and one more. So this is not the final lap, and that's something you have to think about with these timed races, Richard, is you got to fuel for enough for that one extra lap just in case it doesn't time out how you thought.
Yeah, that's exactly what has happened so many times in so many races that we have broadcast where guys get wrong. That extra lap just has them fooled. But let's stay with the battle here for second place. It is Johan van der Belt and Tuan Tran battling for second place now. Johan van der Belt will have the advantage of the draft here. He's falling in behind. Tuan Tran stays on the standard line, not making any move to go defensive here. But strangely, Johan van der Belt not making a move on him. And so maybe he's keeping it for the last lap, Joe, because he's certainly attacked there.
I think these drivers, having driven a season in these cars, know the deal, know that if the draft is there, you don't have to pass now here at the end of the race. I think you're right. The fan belt is setting himself up on Tran, waiting for the right moment at the last lap. The question is, does he do it up the Kimmel Straight, or does he do it down around Blanchimont? Whoa, the fan belt is all kinds of loose, heading around the left-hander down the hill, though.
I would do it on the Kimmel Straight because you have a better opportunity to defend going down the hill than you can defending up Kimmel. Because Kimmel is uphill, the draft is a lot stronger there. And I would certainly try my move there. In fact, you will see a move from Johan van der Belt. Currently struggling to stay, making sure that he can stay with Tran. Because Trans seem to be just driving a little smoother than Johan van der Belt at the moment. But once again, Joe, it's my imagination that these guys just look like they're catching Rosenfinger there. Can't really be true. It must just be the angle of the track.
They actually are. It's down to 2 seconds. I was just about to say, I wonder if this is going to be extremely close. They can get it down to about a second and a half by the time they hit the Kimmel Straight. We're going to get the white flag this time by as we ride on board with fan belts. Now, heading around Blanchimont, let's see if he makes a move. Is he going to wait? I don't expect one. It looks like he's holding behind Tuan Tran, drifting over to the racing line now as they hit the bus stop chicane just ahead of him. It is down to 1.5 seconds on Robin Rosenfinger. He has traffic ahead of him. That is Brett Trocine. Is he going to get out of the way, or is he going to get in the mix of this? They could close on him.
Sorry, Joe. Johan van der Belt really pushed hard to stay in touch. This is the last lap, I believe. Definitely they're catching Rosenfinger there. Do they have enough to go up Kimmel Straight? Johan van der Belt we're driving with, or I'm driving with at the moment. He's a little far back at this stage, but he should have enough to pull in Tuan Tran as they go up the Kimmel Straight for the last time. Meanwhile, Robin Rosenfinger is in a good place. He's got a car in front of him that he can grab a little draft off, Joe. This is good for him.
This is perfect timing. That's Persine, as we mentioned, that he is pulling that draft from. Meanwhile, behind him, we've got a battle for second place. Tuan Tran is all the way to the inside. It looks like Johan is going to try and pressure him, but he does not try to attempt the pass. He holds him all the way tight to the inside, stays in line. Now they close on Brett Trocine. Trocine is going to have to let them by and not hold them up. Now as they head down the hill towards that 180-degree right-hander, does he hold to the left? Does he let them by? He does. Great move by Brett Trocine, not holding up these leaders. Tuan Tran still ahead of Johan van der Belt. The gap between themselves and Robin Rosenfinger, about 1.5 seconds, Richard. They're losing time to try and catch him and make the pass before the checkers.
Yeah, that was just a major advantage there for Robin Rosenfinger, having that slower car just in the right place at the right time. He can't lose it from here. They don't have enough to catch him, but the battle is for the second place, and I'm surprised Johan van der Belt is being so quiet. So he must be saving everything for that last dash down Blanchimont. That's the only opportunity he will have. If he doesn't do it before the bus stop, he can't get the second place.
Oh, and Tran just absolutely sliding the car, doing everything he can to get himself a run. Now it's flat out up until they hit the bus stop chicane. Johan Vanderbilt looking, holding in the draft, not doing anything right now. They're trying to close in on Rosenfinger, but the gap is not decreasing.
No, he's back in it. He's content with third place, Joe.
Is he out of fuel? Did he plan it wrong? I think Johan Vanderbilt is out of fuel. He's losing ground. Not enough
it's a red
fuel
light.
for the end.
Yeah, he's picking it down. That's the key. Look at him coasting. He's going to make it.
Meanwhile, up at the front, Robin Rosenfinger comes across the line takes the win in round one. Tran just shy of his first win, takes second, and Johan Vanderbilt coasts across the line just in time as Wojciech Podacek was not close enough to take advantage.
So, you were absolutely spot on there, Joe. He ran out of fuel. He cut it very, very fine. He had to stop right there.
That's why he didn't pass down the Kemmel Straight. He knew that he was that tight that he was going to have to lift. Interesting development. Meanwhile, let's give a shout to Pierre Skaki, who comes across the line in the top 5 in his very first race. Nicely done.
Yeah, very good job there. And Vincent Brame then behind him. Vincent Brame has crossed the line already. So guys all finishing up on their race. Eric Lukal as well in the top 7 there. So great job from some of these newcomers. Aki Helverante as well.
Yeah, Helverante managed a top 10 position. So did Frederick Neptune. And David Burns is going to come home 11th. Marcel Seidel finishes 12th, Joachim Lundgren, and 13th, Daniel DeVos, another newcomer. I don't think he's under threat from anybody, so he's going to get a solid 14th. And our last car on the lead lap, it looks like it's going to be Dennis Neagle bringing up the train. So he's going to be a while before he gets to the line. There's no battle between them, so let's go to break. We're going to come back with driver interviews as well as the unofficial results. We're going to have the upcoming races here on GSRC on screen, so don't go away. Welcome back to Spa-Francorchamps, first round of the season of the Formula Neagle Cup here in Absolute Beginners League, and Robin Rosenvinge starts it off with a win. Tuan Tran still hasn't gotten his first one, finishes second. Johan van de Belt rounds out the podium, with Wacek Potacek finishing in fourth. Piers Kaki finishes in fifth, with Vincent Brame in sixth, Eric Lukol in seventh, and Bastian Huseman in eighth. Aki Helverante finishes in ninth, with Frederick Neptune rounding out the top 10.
And David J. Burns finishes in 11th place. Marcel Seidel, an unhappy race for him, in 12th place. Joachim Lundgren in 13th place. 14th place held down by Daniel De Vos. Dennis Neagle finishing on the lead lap in 15th place, followed then by David Costello in 16th place, one lap down. Stephen Paul in 17th place, also one lap down. 18th place, Brett Trocin, and 19th place is Struan Wilkie, and 20th place Joe Martin Tilstra.
Then in 21st, we have Francis Dore, followed by Mark Figueres in 22nd. Unfortunately, fell afoul of the incident limit, we believe. After that, we have Adam Bradshaw in 23rd, Stefan Schmidt in 24th, Lauren Morey in 25th, and Greg McEnany in 26th. We think Brian Conforto and Mikael Engstrom did not start this race in 27th and 28th, but that was our grid, or our final finishing positions here for Spa-Francorchamps. Excuse me, having trouble talking here at the end. We have our third place finisher waiting to talk to us, and that is Johan van de Belt. I'll talk to Johan as we pull him into the booth here. Well, Van Belt, it was definitely an exciting one at the end, but it looks like you just creeped along over the line to the finish. Did you underestimate how many laps it was going to be?
Hey Joe, yeah, well, the problem was the problem was created during the first pit stop. Like, I was battling amazing. I thought it was an amazing battle with Robin, Tuan, and me. But because I was so much in the draft at that period of the race, I could save a lot of fuel. So when I made my pit stop, I think I did it like after 32 minutes. I put a full tank, and I had the idea that I only would need 2 liters at my last pit stop, because of how much I used. But when I came out of the pit stop, I was 5-6 seconds behind Robin, 4 seconds behind Tuan, and I have no idea how that could happen, why the gap was so big, because everybody put full fuel in that tank, I believe. And that just got me out in the end. So the last 3-4 laps I was trying to stay behind Tuan, not overtaking him, so I can just like coast on the Camel Straight and whatever on half throttle, and try to save a little bit of fuel that way. But yeah, in the end it was not enough, and that was a shame, because if I had 1 more liter or something, I could have attacked Tuan in the last lap, or maybe the laps before, and together push towards Robin and then create a little bit more exciting ending.
Yeah, we were curious coming up the Kimmel Straight at the very end. We expected you to try and battle for that position, and then we were all like, why did he not try for it? And then we found out about half a lap later. So, well, you've kicked it off at least with a podium. I'm sure you wanted a little bit more. Are you hoping to try and capture that championship that was just out of your grasp last season, or are you just here to try and run and have fun?
I beat Vincent today. That's the first step. No, of course, I'm here to have fun, but I'm also to try and win the championship. Like, otherwise you shouldn't participate, maybe. No, it's a great result. I'm really happy with P3. It offers a lot of opportunities for the rest of the championship. I think the next race is at Silverstone. Last season that went really well. So yeah, I'm excited and hopeful that I can capitalize on this and get some good results in the future.
Well, we look forward to seeing you battling up at the front once again this season. Again, congratulations on the third place. It was Johan the Van Belt Vandenbelt who captured a third place finish here at Spa in the first round. Next up, I believe Richard is going to be talking to Robin Rosenvinge, our winner for today.
And Robin, very nice to kick off this season with a win. I'm sure you're very, very happy with that.
Yeah, I can't be more happy than winning a race at Spa. It's always a pleasure to win at Spa, even if you're racing Skip Barber or GT3 or whatever it is.
Well, you know, the first half of the race you had a big battle with Tuan Tran and Johan van der Belt. We found out at the end of the race that Johan actually was running out of fuel, which is why he didn't attempt to try for the second place. But you had, when you came out of the pits after your last stop there, it seemed like you had everything under control.
No, I did actually not have anything I control because I knew that Tuan was way faster than me. And when I first saw that he was pitting quite earlier than me, then I just saw that he was actually catching draft from Vincent. So I just had to go for a full fast lap and just go for the pit as soon as possible so I could just get in the same boat. But I knew that Tuan Tran was extremely fast because he's been flying the whole time. So he was the guy to beat today.
Yeah. Well, at least towards the end of the race there, it seemed like, well, we could call it a couple of laps out that no one was going to catch you. So, yeah, good to finish the first race with a win. There is nothing better. The feeling must be pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, I can't describe it. It's like, yeah, it seems like I have to go for a full season on Neagle Cup this time too, since the first race goes well. But I could have done it well, except for if it wasn't for Blackadder Motorsports and especially our paid her Dana Dooley for making this Dixie livery, who actually was quite hard to not look at when I was driving. So thanks to those.
You know, Robin, last season you backed out of the last race there due to the weather, and so you didn't really have an opportunity to fight for the win. So this season you're gonna go one better, you think?
We'll see how it goes. It's a long season this time. It's like 7 rounds instead of 5 rounds, and luckily for me, all the races are actually draft fest, so it's gonna be close races all the time. Even though I don't like the draft tracks, but yeah, it seems to suit me very well.
Oh well, the next one is at Silverstone, we believe. So get ready for that one. It's going to be another long race, a draft race as well. Congratulations, Robin, on your first win of the season in P1. There's no better feeling than coming home with a win. And we wish you all the best of luck for the future races.
Thank you.
All right, Joe, back to you, sir.
We've got one more person that we see waiting in the wings, and that is Aki Helveranta, excuse me. He finished in 9th today, so let's give a quick chat to him and see if he's willing to come and tell us how his race went, since we saw some good battles. Aki, first of all, apologies if we're saying your name wrong, but second of all, congratulations on a top 10 here, newcomer to the league. What are your first impressions?
I was just talking to Johan about my first impression and really enjoyed that it was so clean. I mean, there was mistakes happening, but it was way cleaner than the official series, at least on my point of view.
You certainly had some good battles that we caught on air with, I believe, Bastian Huseman was one of them. I think Mark Figueres was one of them. Who really caught your eye as someone to watch out for that you think you might be fighting with all season?
I really didn't pay that much on that because I was struggling with my car's grip. I think I was using the wrong tire pressure, so I was just trying to keep my car on the right direction.
Yeah, that can sometimes be the hardest part, especially at a fast track like Spa. Well, you've got one under your belt. I'm assuming with you enjoying the clean racing, you intend to be back for the rest of the season?
Yeah, definitely, if I don't have anything blocking my schedule.
Excellent stuff. Thanks for coming and talking to us, and good luck in the rest of the races.
Thanks.
That was Aki Helveranta. He finished 9th today here at Spa in round 1. So now that we've wrapped up here for the Absolute Beginners Formula Neagle Cup, we've got a few people that we want to thank before we go. Obviously, thanks to the league organizer, Johan Vandenbelt, and thanks to iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, Behringer, and AverMedia. They are the software and hardware that we use to make these broadcasts possible. Thanks to the team today, Kevin, Richard, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, along with archived races and our upcoming broadcasts. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at /GlobalSimRacingChannel. If you like interacting with your favorite companies on social media, we definitely love interacting with our fans. So talk to us, tell us what you think, and ask us any questions that you have. A special thank you to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, who both provide music for our broadcast. You can buy Eric's music at iTunes and Spotify, and Casey's at caseylalonde.bandcamp.com. Next race, as Richard mentioned, that is going to be Silverstone, the international circuit. I haven't run that one in a while myself. That'll be Sunday, October 4th. 1:45 p.m. Eastern is when that one kicks off. We also have other upcoming races for other series on screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar, and don't miss them. We have some exciting ones on offer. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.